Hi there. I'm going to go over some yarn changing tips, yarn color changing tips with the corner to corner, as well as I'm doing different weight yarns. This is a 3-weight yarn. This is probably a 6-weight yarn. This is a 4-weight yarn. So I'm doing some things that you wouldn't necessarily typically do. For everything but this yarn, I'm using a 5.5 millimeter hook. For this yarn, I will be using this 4.5 millimeter hook. I wanted to show how I interchange. This happens to be the wrong side of the work, and how I know that is I'm about to go this direction. So I'm technically on the back side. That only matters in a graph. Ultimately, it doesn't matter much. I have the stitch marker at the front here. So I'm going to take this yarn. Oh, I actually have to do this. I have to carry this yarn a little bit. And carrying yarn in this corner to corner is totally a different ballgame. Okay, here's what I do. I go right in here. I wonder, do we need to be a little closer? Maybe. All right, I go in underneath here, and then I kind of come through here, and I'm going to pull that yarn that I left hanging there, so to speak, and I want to come through. It's a little tricky with this particular yarn. Oh, and I need to switch hooks, because this yarn I need to use a smaller hook just to make it work, okay? So I need to get this yarn across here. So one thing I do is I hook it in one of the chains there, and then I go underneath and kind of slip stitch through there. Hopefully that was clear. I feel like that's backwards. Is that backwards? Yeah, it is. And sorry, I'll look at it in editing if I need to flip it. All right. So this is something that I will find who showed me this, but when I slip stitch through here, I want to take this other yarn and kind of wrap it around. Now the reason this is on this is it's on a yarn genie to hang it for outer pull. I wrap it around this yarn that I'm going to be working with, and then I pull it down tight. Then I'm going to chain. It needs to be pulled down. Okay, see how that yarn is laying across there, and I'm going to pull it back behind. I'm going to chain one. Now this is my own way of doing things. Okay, this is not normal, but the wraparound, I need to find who I learned that from, because I don't recall. So I chained one there, and now that yarn is locked down there. Now I'm going to go in the space, and I'm going to slip stitch again, and then I'm going to chain 3. And notice I'm using the smaller hook. Oh, it's out of focus. Come on, focus, focus, focus. There it goes. Okay, so I chained 3. All of that's normal. But because I'm going to it's such a drastic change between these yarns. This is a 3-weight. It's like I said, it's probably at least a 5, if not a 6. I'm going to actually only do 2 double crochets. So I'm going to go in, wrap a yarn over, go through, pull up a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2, and I kind of pull it down a little bit. I wouldn't normally do that. But again, I'm trying to keep this from being too drastic. This is the bottom of the heart. But again, we're on the wrong side of the yarn. We always want our yarn coming out the wrong side. Again, only ever matters if you're doing a graph. Okay, so I did my chain 3. I did a double crochet. We're going to do 1 more double crochet instead of 2. And it did not want to come off the yarn genie. Pulled right off that magnet. Sorry about that. I see why, because it kind of sticks to itself. It almost sticks to my skin. If you ever have those kinds of issues, I don't even know exactly what kind of yarn that is. So, but it's, yeah, it sticks to itself. Okay, so now I'm going to, because I need to do 2 blocks. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to slip stitch in. That's all normal. And then chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Then I'm going to yarn over, go in that chain space. Hard to see with this fluffy yarn, but it's there. And do that. Double crochet. Now this time, since this is the same color yarn, I'm going to actually not go in the chain space. I'm going to go underneath or in between the double crochets. Yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. Because that then kind of hides that hole that's created that you can see with corner to corner. All right, well, I believe I only had, let me check my graph. Yep, I only need 2 of these. So I need to change yarn again. But what I said, I'm going to pull this off for a second. I'm going to clamp this on here. And this is back to this. So I need to change hooks again. I'm going to pull that up a little bit. Just don't pull too tight because, man, this yarn is not the easiest. Oh, I need to look at how that's going. Okay. All right. So here's my fluffy loop right here. But I need to get this yarn over here. So I'm going to come in here, chain, and I'm going to try to catch an edge. If I can't, I'll show you the other way I handle it. Okay, yeah, I'm having trouble finding an edge there. I'm going to chain 3 and then slip stitch in there. Slip stitch in that chain space. Then I'm going to go back over to this loop. Before I do that, I need to unclamp that. I'm going to take this yarn, we'll wrap it around, make sure that's between the loop and that, the other side of the yarn, the working yarn. I pulled on the wrong part. All right, that's all right. I managed to grab that loop just in time. Whew. Okay, so now I'm going to pull this one down tight. That's what I meant to do. And then I'm grabbing that blue yarn, I'm pulling it through, and then I pull it down. And again, see how that is wrapped around there? I need to keep it out of the way. I'm going to chain 1. And again, this is my own way of thinking about it. The wrapping around was somebody else. But I do this chain 1, then I slip stitch into this space. Somehow it aligns the squares better from the way I crochet, I guess. We're going to chain 3. We're going to go in here. And we're in the chain space of the fluffy yarn. Now this time we are going to do 3. Oops, did I grab it? No. We want to keep that yarn out of the way. Honestly, I probably should have clamped it first, but that's all right. I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to clamp this because it's kind of annoying me. All right. You did not need to use a yarn genie. That is just what I was doing because those 2 I was having to outer pull. Because I could not figure, obviously I was not going to figure out a center for this one, but anyway, the rest of these I'm using bobbins, so it's just not an issue. They were coming straight from the ball. Okay, here's my second double crochet. All right, and 1 more. Now that's a different color yarn, so I'm not going to go underneath like I will on the next one. Okay, so there's my first one, and then this. Pull that tight, get that kind of out of the way. And then slip stitch up here, chain 3, double crochet. So US terms, treble crochet if you're in the UK. And then here's my second double crochet. And then my third, again, instead of going in here, I'm going to go underneath between these 2 double crochets. It's really hard to see. So there's the chain space. But we're going to go underneath that. And again, the reason I do that's a me thing. I like to close up that hole a little bit. You can see that hole is not as large as say like this hole. So I'm going to keep doing this. Okay. And then back through that between. Again, this is a me thing. I don't know that that's at all the typical way to do that, but I did want to show you kind of how I handle that. But you can only do it when it's the same color yarn. Okay. I need to double check my count. Over here on my graph grid. Okay. Now, pull that up. Now, I need my green yarn to be all the way over here. Unclip. I'm going to kind of ignore that for a while. That's why I pulled up a really big loop. Which green yarn? Oh, shoot. It got all wound up around that blue yarn. Let me fix this. Okay. I let my bobbin get a little loose, so that was what happened there. Clip that little fuzzy piece right there. Okay. So I'm all the way up here, and I need this green yarn to go here. I'm not going to carry it all the way over there like in a traditional way. So here's how I carry this yarn. I will go in underneath here. Oops, that's a loop. Now, normally I don't do that. I think I was doing that while I was on the live, and so I did it kind of weird. Okay, I like to go up under that one and into that one and pull slip stitch there. Now, why do I do that? To get that hole to close down a little bit. Now, here's where I'll be able to show you what I do with, oh, it's not focused. I'm going the wrong direction. Okay. I kind of slip stitch across those loops there. I just do one loop. And then I slip stitch twice typically, and then I'll go in the hole, the chain space hole, and then I kind of wrap around, kind of funny. I know that's really kind of awkward. These are yarn genie balls are driving me crazy. Okay, that could sound really wrong out of context. Anyway, I still need to get all the way to this corner. So what I'm going to do is chain 3, and it's going to lay down next to that. I kind of find that little slip stitch spot, and I slip stitch down in there. I don't know that this is showing you very well. I might have to figure out how to zoom in a little bit better. Anyway, and then I chain 1, and then I go, just find a loop, chain 1, or slip stitch, sorry, find another loop, slip stitch, then go in to the chain space, grab that yarn, slip stitch through. Now we're coming back over to this yarn, pull this yarn down, don't pull the green one because you don't have your hook on it. All right, I'm going to go through there, but before I do that, I'm going to wrap the blue kind of around the green, pull that blue down tight. Now I'm going to pull the green down tight. I'm going to slip stitch in there. I'm going to pull that blue again. See how it's kind of wrapped around? I'm going to pull that blue again. And then I'm going to chain 1. And get that blue out of the way. I'm going to slip stitch one more time. And that just, like I said, it lines my squares up better. I have never seen anybody else do that. That's not to say that nobody else does it. It must be just something about the way I do corners to corners that I need to do that extra slip stitch over when I do the chain. Yeah, I think it's probably because I'm not pulling it through. Yeah, it's because I'm not pulling it through there. I'm just slip stitching to it. Let me clamp that down before I have another yarn ball problem. And then when I'm looking on my graph, okay, so see how that chain 3 is laying up against there? We kind of pretend it's not there, but we're going to go in this chain space and see. Now you can see, it just kind of looks like we have an extra stitch there as opposed to that I carried yarn. So that's how I do that. And then I'm going to chain 3, and then it's all from there. It's just a regular corner to corner. I think I have 3 green squares to do. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut this one off because I don't want it to be too long. I may slow down part of that. Yeah, pretty confident I need 3, but let me double check my graph. Yes, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yep. All right. So we're going to show this next color change because that's in a different position. Okay, I don't like that. So I see that big gap. I don't like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of go in this spot for that next double crochet and pull that together a little bit. Hopefully, let's see what happens when I go up here. Yeah, it's a little better. Still not great. Don't love it, but I'm not pulling all that out. It feels like I just did that really loose, and that might be the problem. I do tend to have kind of loose tension, and especially if I'm live doing something, I can have a tendency to be even more loose tension. I don't need this again until I get back around down there. Okay, so there's 3. That's what I needed. All right. Somebody asked about the weight of it. Yes, it does get heavy. That's part of why I either put all the weight on my lap or on the desk like I'm doing right now, because you don't want your yarn to get all splitty, not splitty, stretched. All right, so I need to bring the yarn up to the top of this. I need to bring it up here. So I don't know why I don't love how that's showing, but hopefully it's better on the replay. I'll have to see. And like I said, I'll zoom in if I need to. And hopefully it'll be good. So I slip stitched in the side there. Now I'm going to slip stitch into the hole. And this, like I said, this is where I think I do it differently, because I think you're supposed to actually pull this through here to complete the double crochet, then slip stitch, but that's not how I do it. This is how I do it, where I slip stitch. I'm going to go ahead and pull that through. I'm going to bring that green yarn around here, so it's wrapped around there, so it ends up getting tightened down. I'm going to tighten this bobbin up a little bit, and I do label my bobbins. I'm in Australia currently, not physically, but on my map blanket. Okay, I'm going to chain 1 there. That locks that green yarn down. Now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to slip stitch, and then 1, 2, 3, and it's all back to normal here. Yeah, that's very specific to mine. So we're going to go, oh, I went underneath again. Since it's the same color, I'm going to go underneath. That's just my thing. Like I said, I think if you're doing something that the holes are actually nice, like if I was doing this as a corner to corner sweater or something like that, I wouldn't want the holes to get all closed up. So I need to look at how this is set up. My graph. All right. I will fast forward through some of this. Okay. So this is labeled Mediterranean. So I'm actually going to bring this yarn that's kind of only over here on the side. It's about to be done, I think. I don't recall if I measured this. I think I did. I'm not sure. My bobbins, I definitely did. This one, I'm not sure I did. So I need this yarn to stay. Where do I want this yarn to stay? I'm going to put it next to it. Okay. So I'm going to do one more. Because yes, they're the same color, but I have this. I need this one to be going around through the middle here. We'll show that in a minute. There's 2 double crochets, and then underneath between. Again, I would not submit this to a county fair or a state fair because this is not the proper way to do that. Okay. So I'm going to, let me clip that little bit of yarn. All right. I'm going to bring this yarn over. So what I do is I go in underneath. Again, I'm closing a gap and in that hole. And then I pull through. I chain 1. I go to the top here, grab that, slip stitch through it. Grab 1, slip stitch through it. Again, I do that just to not have too much bulk there. This is just, again, how I am approaching it. I know it seems a little weird to be attaching blue to blue, but it's because of where I want that yarn to end up. Oh, see, I need to go behind. I need to go around. Oh. Around. Let me fix this bobbin. All right. And again, the reason we do that is to kind of lock it down. Pull this tight and pull this tight. Pull this tight again. Chain one. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to slip stitch. Again, that's my thing. It's because I don't carry slip stitch with the new color. That would be if you watched other people do it, that's how they would do it. So please watch other people do it and do it the way that makes sense for you. Because the way I do it is probably not truly correct, but it's what works for me. All right. That's as far as I'm going to go because I'm just going to end up changing yellow. Everything is normal from there on. So I don't love that gap, so I'm probably going to adjust back here again. But I'm going to go ahead and end this here